queries, questions, concerns related to admissions, related to the topic which you are talking about. We will discuss all these things in this session. So please wait for some more time to start this session. Yes, I think we have given enough time for more students to join. I think we see a lot of people eagerly waiting, and they are already posting they got a seat in Faridabad, and I'm going to Faridabad tomorrow. Whom should I contact? I see good response from the students, but a warm welcome again. I think maybe all the panelists, if they can switch on the video, we will start the session. So yes, Shreya and Maushmi ma'am, if you can, yes, yeah. Warm welcome and good evening to all for today's discussion on the topic that is at the forefront of technological innovation and healthcare transformation. Because today we know what is AI, what is the impact of AI and all, but there are some things that are happening, the impact of AI that is there in each and every career domain. Today we are discussing about how AI is transforming the healthcare and the whole ecosystem in healthcare today, where AI is advancing at an unprecedented pace. As you can see, we already know the effect and impact in certain career domains, especially we know how it is affecting IT domain or customer service domain and all. But you should understand the global AI market today is valued at 20,000 crores and it's going to double annually. So this exponential growth actually is making industries finding out roadmaps to adopt to these AI technologies, and especially within healthcare. Okay, and it's a challenging situation also, and it's a boon also to the healthcare, where it's reshaping how medical decisions are made, or diagnosis are reached, and treatments are administered. So today, to address or to give us awareness about this, Can AI be your next doctor? The question which all of us are having. We have a privileged, distinguished panel representing diverse perspectives, one from academia, and one from medical practice, and then one is from AI research. They will shed light on current advancements in AI, their implications for healthcare, ethical, technical, practical considerations, all these things. Throughout this discussion, we will explore all these concepts. You might be having more doubts, more questions related to these implications, or you want to learn more about what is exactly is happening in our campus in particular domains. So without further ado, let us dive into our discussion on whether AI can indeed be your next doctor. So let me first introduce our first panelist, Professor Kamal Bijlani, sir. A warm welcome to you, sir. It's a pleasure to have you. He's Dean, School of Artificial Intelligence, Amrita Vishwavidyapeetham, and also a director, AI and Medical Center, Amrita Hospital, Faridabad. He has a rich experience of 25 years practically implementing a lot of things, especially AI in healthcare and digital technologies. A warm welcome to you, sir. Once again, to you. It's a pleasure to be having you as a panelist. Thank you. And our next panelist, Dr. Moshimi Suravamshi ma'am. She is also one of the most accomplished molecular biologists and clinical scientists in the country. She has also rich experience of 22 years. She has established molecular laboratory at Rajiv Gandhi Cancer Institute and Research Center, Delhi, and is pioneer in the field of molecular diagnostics and translational research. A warm welcome to you, ma'am. It's a pleasure to have you as part of our panel. And one more thing, a unique panelist today we have Shreya Shumi, who is a BTech final year student who is studying computer science AI in our Amritpuri campus. She is doing currently a lot of research in terms of AI in healthcare, and she can give you a perspective of how you can experience the life as a student in Amrita as well as the research. She can give you an hands-on information what she is currently doing or going through. So pleasure to have you, Shreya, again in this panel. And I'm again welcoming all the three panelists before going into the first question. Sir, Kamal sir, my first question is to you. I think I gave you a pretty long introduction and all, but students should understand what they are getting into. Sir, my first question is, I know as I told before in the introduction, the AI global market is increasing day by day and it is expected around 20,000 crores. It's going to double every year. But can you tell us about the recent AI advancements across sectors, particularly if you take an example in healthcare, that would be helpful, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yes, Mr. Sudhir, thank you so much for the warm introduction. I hope I'm audible. So yes, the recent advancements in artificial intelligence have really taken the world by storm. The very recent ones, but the AI developments have been going on for the last many years actually now. So overall, if we look back, for some time, I mean, we can really, I mean, I can go back. I started my, AI career in US. I worked for startups in Stanford University and MIT in US long time back. And, so the AI, the seeds and the, of AI started a long time back. And then they have developed in various directions. There were expert systems first, then, neural networks, and then, those neural networks now have led to machine learning, deep learning, and then the recent developments has been primarily in generative AI. From generative AI has spawned, Chat GPT, and Chat GPT suddenly has, spawned a worldwide economic and technological war actually between all these major companies like Microsoft and OpenAI behind ChatGPT. Then with Gemini, we have Google. Then there is, Instagram and Facebook company called Meta, which is developing its own AI platform called Llama. And, there is, the famous people like Tesla, and IBM, and so on. So these top biggest companies in the world are in a war to make the latest and best AI software. And one of the companies that has benefited the most from this is NVIDIA, which makes the chips, the GPUs. And that has become number two company in the world now after Microsoft. You know, so the economics of AI are huge. So people who are joining the AI revolution today, I think they are very lucky, very fortunate that they will be at the cutting edge of technology when they graduate, 4 years from now, the BTechs or the MTechs, and both. So there has been a lot of AI applications. I gave you a very few, broad ones like ChatGPT, Gemini, and all in the generative AI domain. In the medical sector, for example, since you asked me to mention some things there, the major contributions, for example, earlier were all a lot of there in radiology, for example, the X-rays, the CT scans, and so on. The AI and the image recognition algorithms, are almost as good as the technology people, because of the repetitive and detailed nature of the work. And in health sector, there are many applications like in prediction and all across. I was looking at the website, and in the US alone, there are several hundred machines that the US government has approved, which are called as AI machines. Now, we have to remember that the US is, very tough and very careful about allowing any AI, in healthcare. So, but still, the some of the best assistance in AI is coming about in the health sector.
Yes, sir. I think that's rightly said. As you told, the growth is exponential. Maybe we planted the seed of AI a few years back or way long, but are we currently in the plant stage, or we are going to get into the tree stage in the coming years? That's what I think you are telling. But the applications are huge. As you told, companies and industries are investing way more, especially in healthcare sector. But Moshmi ma'am, as you are the person who is especially working in the healthcare sector and all, considering these advancements and improvements, actually, which healthcare departments are maximizing AI benefits? Because if we go into more details about the impact of AI and how it is this AI integration affecting daily medical operations, can you please let us know more? You are on mute. You mute, man. Can you unmute? Yes.
Yeah, first of all, thank you, Sudhir, for giving me this opportunity. As Professor Kamal said, that healthcare departments across various specialities are leveraging AI to the maximum benefits. And I think the best example he's already given is the radiology. So there are FDA approved platforms and softwares which can help, which are officially authorized to help in the normal reporting. So if you just consider a normal doctor who's reporting and his reporting capacity at the beginning of the day versus his reporting capacity, maybe at the end of the day might be very different. So that's very human because there is fatigue, there are emotional factors and so on. But if there is an assistant who is clearly pinpointing all those factors and you can just pick up all the findings, so it just aids so much more, it adds so much more to the normal reporting. So another big area is pathology. So pathology, even for pathology, there are FDA government approved in US, of course, the class softwares which can help in reporting, and you can classify the tissue as cancerous, non-cancerous, or particular disease type. So it has reached to that level. And with the what we call as area under curve, or maybe the sensitivity is to the tune of 99%. Also in some areas, not all, but yes, in some areas, and it is getting better day by day. Then another very important thing is drug discovery. So initially, the drug used to be discovered first on the it was a serendipity thing when you could discover a drug, and then you used to try on animals and then cell lines and then humans. So right now there are so many molecules we know the structure of, and then we try to match them on the software with the help of AI, with what drug could be the possibility. So there is a big scope in drug discovery, and presently most of the drugs which we are seeing today are discovered by AI with the help of AI. So that is the potential. And then my core field, genomics. So there is so much data in genomics, and it is able to predict the patient's prognosis, the diagnosis, and the drug formulations. And it's humanly not possible to manage that kind of data. So AI has just come in and just sorted it. Of course, you need to look into it, but it has reduced the task immensely. So that is there. And then, of course, there is telemedicine. Then in your routine operational efficiency, there is increase maintaining the inventory, the data resources, the staff scheduling, the cost calculation, and of course, like a clinical support, decision support. So if you just put in the clinical features, it can suggest the differential diagnosis, and humanly, it is possible to miss some of them, which can be aided by a clinical assistant, which is AI based. And not to forget the robotic instruments. So there are so many robots. We have robots in urology, in gynecology. So they are all based on AI. That, in fact, the robot can accumulate data from all the surgeons who are operating across the world, and then suggest new changes to the surgeon who is sitting on the robot. So it's that kind of, in fact, the uses are endless and it is growing. And these are just what I can think of randomly. But I think the scope is beyond things.
So, from your words, actually, if I want to conclude, ma'am, the thing is, the applications are huge, from hospital administration to diagnosing a disease, treating a disease, discovering a drug for a disease, and actually looking at the well-being of the patient. So, in each and every aspect of a patient coming from hospital to discharge, today, can AI be part of it? Are you saying that? As
Yes. In
exactly?
fact, it is like you have an assistant who's there with you and who is a very smart assistant and who can answer so many things. And obviously, you need to cross-check the data and everything, and it will get better. The more you teach it, it gets better. So I think everybody, each one of us would like to have such a system. So
Yes.
within medicine, where the knowledge is changing so rapidly that every 60 days, especially in oncology, every 60 days you have some new knowledge, and it is going to go even faster. So how would we keep pace humanly with that kind of knowledge and that kind of information? So this is a big blessing and boon to medical society.
Yes, ma'am. That's very good to hear from a doctor and all, actual doctor, the impact of the technology and all. So, Shreya, my next question is to you. Since you are a student and continuing on the discussion which I had with Moshmi ma'am, uh, of medical imaging analysis and all, you have been extensively working with some MRI data in your AI healthcare integration projects and all. Can you please actually give a brief what project you are doing, and can you address some of the challenges in working with this clinical data as an engineer? How did you find it a difficulty to read this clinical data or something? Can you just let us or give us a light about how what was your process, or what are the challenges you are facing in your project?
I think one particular project I would like to mention is like my current final year project, which involves MRI scans of the brain. And we are trying to create an AI system which is able to go through these MRI scans and check for presence of tumors like glioblastoma, metastatic, pituitary, or melanoma, or if it's a healthy tissue. So that is private clinical data which we got through an IRB approved collaboration with a medical center at Albany, US. So when you're dealing with that kind of very sensitive clinical data, you have to take into a lot of consideration about data privacy and ethical considerations, wherein each sample is a person who like decided to like, contribute something to that particular field, to contribute to that advancements in research in that particular field. So you have to treat each of those samples given by those patients with that level of respect, and like you have to give that security to. It's a little hard to wrap your head around, especially at the beginning, to like really understand how sensitive that data can be. And I think another challenge that I came across when working with these kind of clinical data is like, for example, in my case itself, not every patient of whose data you have is going to go to the same hospital, the same MRI machine, etc. So there is that variability in the data type itself. There is no data heterogeneity, wherein there might be differences in the MRI machines, in the MRI machine protocols. There could be differences in the Teslas, etc. So at the core, the machine learning model is trying to learn features from your data that will help it make certain decisions with unseen cases. But then when the data is so different, that could be a problem where the machine doesn't know what to learn or what is exactly is important. So the maybe the way to approach that problem is to truly identify the problem at core with the data set. What is throwing your data off, and to maybe cater your machine learning model to solve those particular problems and maintain higher or better accuracy levels. And I think, especially when working with clinical data sets as well, a good accuracy is appreciated, it is good, but it's also best that it's generalizable and transferable to a clinical setting. So that would be my.
Yes. So, as you rightly said, so for every problem that even, especially if you generalize, we need more information to solve the problem. So that exactly means we need more data. So when we are acquiring this data, as you said, so especially reading this clinical data might be a challenge if you can't understand what exactly is the core problem. So first you understand the core problem, then you have the data to solve that core problem. So I think you're on the right path, I think with the guidance of Kamal sir and Moshmi ma'am, I think your project maybe can be published in the coming years, and we can all hear your name. I think that's very good to hear. Sir, Kamal sir, my next question is to you. So I think we reached to a great junction to address our core topic today. Everybody is asking. According to a nature of study, maybe Google AI matched or surpassed the physician's diagnostic accuracy in 6 medical specialties considered for analysis. Actually, consider these revolutionary advancement, how realistic is it to expect AI to be the next doctor? Is it possible? Can you please let us know? You're on mute, sir. Mute. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, yes, Mr. Sudhir. So can AI be the next doctor, or can AI be a doctor? Or can AI, I think I would like to break that up into parts, Obviously, there are, this is a important question that we all need to answer. Now, I think let's look at it from a technology point of view, okay? From a technology point of view, if you just ask me strictly, if we give all the information into an AI system, can for a very many of the specialties which are narrow, where the amount of information is narrower, scope is narrower, and the data is available, which Shreya mentioned, right? Like if you have a lot of data of I think data is going to play a major role, before that happens. Okay, what I mean is, we have data, and we have data, let's say, of the white people in the US, right? That is one type of data. Then we have data of Indians in India, right? Now that data, for examples of Indians in AI, there will be data of Africans in Africa, there'll be data of Japan so all these data sets, it is not clear that if I build a model using one data set of one country, I'm just giving an example, right? that same model which will work, let's say, on white people from Europe and US, white people may not work for other countries, for example, right? So if we really want to make a multi-modal data set, that is going to take a fair amount of time. We all in AI today know, just like, gold was very valuable at one time, it was the biggest thing. Then oil was the biggest thing. Today, data is going to become the biggest thing in AI, right? Data is going to become the most valuable thing. If you have large amount of data, for example, at AIMS Kochi, we have the hospital running for 25 to 30 years. We have a lot of data. In Faridabad, we have it running for a short amount of time. We have less data. But, what I'm saying is data is going to play a huge role in every, and let me give you another example. In Faridabad, for example, we have 81 specialities, okay? So what I mean is, it's not just like, will AI become your doctor that I can answer? I have to break that up into 81 parts. Will AI be good enough in, this segment of cardio, as a heart doctor, as a skin doctor, so on. So the level of AI over time, technologically, I think AI can do extremely well, maybe even better than humans, but AI also has hallucinations. And even if that is 1 or 2 in 100, right, that is still very dangerous. So it raises up, yes, I have a very smart toy or a robot or a car, but do we let it run our life? That ethical question is going to come up in a very big way and debated all over the world, right? That is the challenge. And I think different societies on this planet are going to address it differently. So in US, for example, they had technologies in certain areas like e-mice 30 years ago, but it has not yet been put in a public domain where people can just simply use it. Because you can say, because there is both sides to it. Some people, of course, will be worried that, will I lose my job, right? And in a place like US, where the medical associations are so powerful, they even become so powerful that they may stop their own progress. Now that is a completely debatable statement, and I'll just leave it like that. But I'll just give you another example. In China has a totally different viewpoint. Like India, they have huge populations. They don't have enough doctors to cater to every sick person. They don't have enough doctors to cater to every super specialty. So recently, China seemingly announced the first virtual AI hospital in the world. Okay. Now, because they don't have to worry about the social legal aspects. If the country makes a decision at the executive level, they make a decision. They probably don't have to worry about all the medical bodies that will not let them do that at the social level. So the decision making of the world over is going to be different. I think technologically over time, I'd like to summarize that once we have enough data, enough models, yes, AI will become very powerful. And it will be, but personally, I feel, we should never say that AI will replace the doctor. We should only say that the doctor who knows AI will replace another doctor. In other words, the doctor who knows technology, knows the latest, best technology, will be most well equipped to make better decisions because he has such a smart AI system under him. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Before I conclude that, I want to know the viewpoint from our panelist who is a doctor, because you are from academics, so you told your viewpoints, sir. But ma'am, Moshumi ma'am, do you concur with Dean's viewpoint on expanding this AI diagnostic capabilities amidst India's effort in this digitization and all?
So I'll tell you something. So maybe I think 3 years back, I had read a book. So that time I knew AI was coming. So we are in medicine, and medicine, it's difficult to adopt these kind of things, because our own studies are quite difficult and engrossing, and to learn something very different from what you do. So that time I had read this book, Power Shift, and I suggest the students also, they should also read that book. So that book says the main context of that book is the power has shifted over years. So initially it was the muscle power. So the person who was physically strongest used to have the maximum, at that time when the early man used to have the maximum wives, maximum children, a better house and everything. Then the power shifted to wealth. Okay. So the wealth power was the people who were richer. They used to get access to everything. That still holds to in most sense. But in today's era, this is the era of information, era of data. The person who has access to data and who can make sense from the data will be the most powerful. So this is true about today's world. So I suggest reading that book. And of course, I agree with Dr. Bijlani's viewpoint that expanding AI is expanding the diagnostic capabilities, especially in the context of India's digitalization efforts in the healthcare. We all know that India is one step ahead in digitalization, even from compared to the most advanced nations in the world. So, and of course, what AI will do is AI will give you improved access. The AI powered diagnostic tests can be developed in remote and underserved areas where it's very difficult to get the doctor. So maybe you can get those data and accesses and attach it to a person. And these can even be cost effective solutions. So, like even monitoring patients' diabetes or blood pressure over just with a watch and collecting that data, okay, and making sense out of that data and then presenting it to a doctor versus the patient just coming one time to the doctor and the patient doctor just looking at that the patient that time and saying, "अभी तो तुम ठीक हो, तुम कहते हो तुम्हारा ब्लड शुगर बढ़ जाता है, ब्लड प्रेशर बढ़ जाता है या ब्लड शुगर चेंज हो जाता है, बट व्हाट यू आर सेइंग राइट नाउ is absolutely everything is okay. But if you can monitor that data and you collect that data and you have that kind of data, you just imagine the power the doctor has in diagnosing that kind of thing. And of course, it can be scalable. So that is there. And today is the era of personalized medicine. So earlier it was that, okay, this is the disease, everybody with the same disease gets the same medicine. But now every person is different, especially in oncology. So every person is different. We call it targeted therapy also. So every person is looked at for a particular abnormality, which has to be mapped with all the clinical features, and then the particular drug has to be suggested. So everybody cannot be given. So their AI is already actually playing a big role. So it will play a big role. But of course, then this data has to be integrated into our system, and we are getting better and better. And of course, lots has to be done. But then there are consideration, as Shreya and Professor Vijlani said, of ethics. So, and Chat GPT or these platforms, they can have hallucinations. So you cannot just blindly trust them, and you have to keep a check on them. The doctor has to be there, and of course, these will never have those emotions. So at times, the decision in the clinic is not just what is written in the textbook. It is based on the patient's economic condition, on the patient's reality, or the patient's wish. So those considerations AI will never be able to take into account. So a doctor will be there, and your AI will be a good assistant wherever the data is required. But of course, it has to be constantly taught, validated that it is sending us correct information. All those limitations will be there.
Yes, ma'am. I think now I think I can conclude what the core concept of today's topic is. Can AI be your next doctor? Based on both of your answers, actually, what I can conclude is today a person who has more knowledge about AI will take more jobs. I mean, they will have more job opportunities, or they will have more opportunities to work or solve a problem than the person who doesn't have the knowledge of this AI technology. And one more thing is, as we require more and more data, and in a country like India, I think it's going to increase more, because I see globally why everybody is looking at India is because of this data, because we have a huge huge testing crowd who can actually give you more information, give you more test base or test batch that is there. Not only especially healthcare, every country is looking at India because of this, the huge data points which they can get from our country. So I think one more question to you, ma'am, mostly, ma'am, to in continuation to this. For students today, a lot of students are here to actually listen to what this AI in data science can offer, especially with a minor in medical engineering. For students aspiring to merge AI with clinical practice, what considerations should they prioritize in their education and early career?
Okay, look, if you have to work in a clinical setting, it has to be interdisciplinary. It is not that you are sitting alone and you have got a data and you're working on it. It cannot be that. You need to coordinate with your clinical people, clinical colleagues, and then understand what you're trying to do. Because as already mentioned, AI can give you hallucinate and give you some answers which may not be real life things or real life situations. The clinical exposure is very important. Then ethical and regulatory knowledge is very important. There are ethical guidelines and there are data privacy rights, and those regulations are very important and they need to be known. And as I mentioned, it's a collaborative skill. And today it's a evidence-based practice. We just don't practice anything, so it is based on evidence, it is based on, okay, and if you need to put something into a clinical routine, it has to be properly, first it needs a sufficient amount of data, and the validation has to be prospective and retrospective, all those kind of things. The clinical thing has to be kept in mind, because here you are dealing with real life people. It is not that some machine which will not work. It is a person who may die just because you gave a wrong diagnosis, or he was treated wrongly because the AI hallucinated. So that margin of error is not there in medicine. And that's why you need to understand what the other person or the clinical side of it is. Of course, you will become very good in the AI side, you're working on this, but since it's a AI with healthcare, you will need whatever is your area of specialization, you need to know the nitty-gritties of that particular clinical field. And it's a continuous learning which has to be there, and a patient-centric approach is a must.
Yes, ma'am. I think as you rightly told, so today, if you can see, it's still expanding day by day, and students need to think whatever is shown by AI is not exactly true, because it is working based on the data we feed to the system. So still, we need to make or do take the steps accordingly to feed as much data as possible, so that all the decisions or the information that is provided by the AI are correct. So I think my next question is for Shreya. I think Shreya, can you unmute yourself? I'll just ask this question. Sri
Yeah.
Shankar, can you? Yes. Can you make her co-host one more time? Yeah. See, Shreya, my question is to you, because you have been working on some AI projects in Amrita and all. So discuss some of these AI projects developed at Amrita that demonstrate practical applications in healthcare.
Okay, so I think one particular project I would like to maybe talk about is towards the end of my final year. I got to take up an internship with Dr. Kamal Bijlani, wherein we worked on this one particular project where we were trying to create a dermatology application which allows users to make a remote diagnosis of their dermatology related issues. So it could be something like a user can upload an image of their maybe a wound or some other issue like vitiligo, and the model will be able to like remotely diagnose them within like the matter of seconds. So the way we set up that system was to have a multifaceted or multimodality like kind of diagnosis, wherein we have a particular classification of a disease based off the skin condition itself. And the data set that we used for that was a SkinCon data set which is created by Stanford. And this is one of the issues wherein one of the problems where Dr. Kamal had mentioned comes in, wherein there was a lot of data which was based on white or fairer colored skin because it's a US based data, and we don't have a lot of data that could be specific to Indian type skin and also maybe Indian kind of skin conditions. And so we're currently working on maybe trying to gather that kind of data, which is why like having that background of like Amrita hospital is helpful, because in that hospital like we can ask a lot of patients to like maybe contribute towards this specific cause, and so that is really helpful and in making our model better. So back to the model itself, so that is one particular aspect where we use the imaging analysis to get a diagnosis. We also have mapped out with the help of a dermatologist certain symptoms that could be relevant to certain data sets, and what kind of symptoms could be relevant to certain disease types, and we have set up certain weights. So based on the conversation that our LLM would have with the patient, we would assign certain weights to each of the symptoms they mentioned. We also shows images. We suggest certain type of symptoms that could be relevant to them, and they're able to pick up certain criteria that is relevant, like I mentioned to them. And so when you have that kind of multifaceted like approach towards that AI-based diagnosis, you are able to increase the accuracy of your diagnosis, while also it serves as an aid to a doctor who could potentially use it in a remote like campus or in an area wherein a lot of these facilities might not exactly be available. A doctor can only look at so many patients at one time. So these kind of applications can really help a lot of patients. And as a lot more Indian citizens have mobile phones or laptops, this is able to really reach a lot more people. So you are able to bring out that specialty or specialization to a lot more people. It's made available to a lot of people. So yeah.
Yeah, I think rightly said. So the projects which you are doing, so actually it looks like way more interesting, and
Yeah.
it looks like you are doing lot of or getting lot of insights or help from the faculty also. But one question, Shreya, before I move on to Kamal sir and all. So I just want to ask, like, how well the faculty, like Kamal sir or Moshmin, actually is helping you in doing these projects and all.
I think I would say they are definitely very helpful, and because it's on more of the clinical side, we have also a lot of contact with these dermatologists or clinicians who really know what they're doing. Like at the end of the day, in order to take care of a task or really automate it, we really need to understand what is at the core of the task. So I'm also working on this other project which is based on flow cytometry. And at the beginning, I didn't really know what was going on. It was a new kind of data, but then when you're interacting with doctors, asking those kind of questions and really understanding the task, like you see these nuances, and that can only be like I think understood when you're interacting, you're collaborating that closely with the team. So Kamal sir has also been so helpful. He has been so supportive in setting up all of these different kind of meetings and connections. And there is also an in-house technology team at Amrita who's developing the front end applications for these kind of models that we're setting up. So it's extremely supportive, and the faculty always they push you to be better. They show you all these different dimensions to a problem you didn't even know exists. So I think that's a really helpful aspect.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing to hear from the student, because maybe all your juniors who are in this session are eager to know how much supportive my faculty is and all. But one interesting thing you told, the interaction with the doctors. I hope all the people who are attending here knows or aware of our Amrita Faridabad campus. It's Asia's largest hospital with 83 specialties, and I think it's 2,600 plus beds are available, and it's a medical campus with a hospital. So it is launched by our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji last year. So please, you will be having an advantage actually if you are studying AI data science in Faridabad, sir. Continuing to this, as you are at the core of our country as AI Faridabad, I mean Faridabad campus, and also with the introduction of Center of AI in Medicine at Amrita, BTech in AI and data science, especially as I told, situated in the backdrop of one of the India's largest multi-specialty hospitals. How will this curriculum bridge theory with practical and innovative healthcare solutions?
Right. Very good point, Mr. Sudhir. So, our vision, definitely, by creating AI and data science, we already have a Center for AI and Medicine. So our entire, we want to create a complete ecosystem, of AI, and healthcare and medicine, definitely all coming together, basically. So you can imagine, how powerful it would be if, normally, we as an engineering student, what practical things do you really get to do? The only thing that I remember from my BITS Pilani experience is mostly remember is the cultural festival and the project that I did there, Those are the things I clearly remember. All the subjects I learned, which I remembered, I forgot, So what you do, the way you have fun, the sports, the culture, and where you do your projects, that's later what you remember in life. So we should learn from our experience and give our students now a better experience, is what I feel, right?
Yes.
So that is, our pedagogy. That is the way we think people should learn. And, having this beautiful, hospital with these, hundreds of doctors, 300 plus, like Dr. Moshmi, who's here, such knowledgeable people. And, Faridabad also has some of the best researchers, so when an AI student comes there, they're not only an AI student, there's also a medical student. We even have the thought process that some projects will be done under interdisciplinary teams where there'll be one or two AI students, one or two medical students, and the committee will be headed by, doctors and AI professors, right? So you can imagine a team like this working at the same campus at the same time. It'll be very powerful. Not even the IITs have this today. Mark you. In fact, the government of India now is making a big push for AI in healthcare. And so we at Amrita, by virtue of the senior management and our beloved, Chancellor, Amma Mata Amritanandamai Devi, she has the vision for this, She has provided us the best, hospital, research hospital, and the best, now, doctors, engineers, and AI practitioners all coming together, mingling in this ecosystem. So, and having an experience. So all these AI engineers from the first semester on, they are in the hospital campus. They will see various departments. They will experience things, they will meet doctors. They will experience the environment. And that experience will lead to their learning, which I think will be far, far greater than if you are just in an academic environment.
Yes, sir. I think that's rightly said. They are having a huge advantage of taking this program, especially in Faridabad campus. And you can see the ecosystem that's there. It's already very supportive to the student to learn or get more exposure and experience also. But one doubt I have, even our students are also asking, sir, is it biology or anatomy is mandatory in +2 to get into this AI and data science, especially with this medical engineering and all?
No. So I mean, see, primarily our stream is still engineering. So, the only thing that is mandatory is the math, the math. Yeah, that's all. Because, some of the math would be needed for the data science part, like, it will lead to, linear algebra, statistics, probability, all those concepts which are part of data science are essential. So only the math is essential. Everything else that you need to know will be taught from scratch. In fact, it'll be taught in a very simple way, using 3D models and virtual reality so that, students experience the latest technology and they learn the biology and the medical concepts using the best technologies available.
Yes, yes. I think as you rightly said, so math is mandatory for a student who is getting into tech. Ma'am, Moshimi ma'am, my last question before we take a Q&A from the students. As a doctor, in your experience, what are some hurdles, technical hurdles in deploying these AI solutions in real clinical settings, and how you overcame these challenges and all? If you can share some of your experience, also how you started adopting these technologies.
Okay, look, being a doctor, because you work with humans, so your mind is tuned to do lot of repetitive work and not go into the error zone. And it is very difficult to unlearn and relearn, right? As you grow old, because you feel you cannot go wrong, and what you learned over years, sitting for hours and hours and hours, is right, is the gold standard, and that's how the things are practiced. Um, but my experience has been, so how I got one, I'm doing genomics, so I'm basically a pathologist, a MD. Then later in my life, I did a PhD because I had to make a molecular lab. So I changed. So maybe that is where I already had that thing in my mind, that okay, learning new things initially may be very tough and painful, but after you have crossed the initial barrier, it is wow. So it's a whole new domain, and that's why I'm slightly more receptive to the AI thing. I have done, I think, two courses in AI. I have worked with Dr. Bijlani's AI team. So we have, in fact, we did a project where we did the same thing. It was a biliary tract cancer data, where we did the whole same thing on R. We analyzed the genomic data on R, and then we tried to do the same thing with the lower level language, that is ChatGPT. And amazingly, so what had taken us so much time, I think almost 90% of it could be replicated, or even at places there were much better data given by these AI models. So that's how I got into it, and now they have been roping me in. So I have got into the curriculum, into all those things, and today I am here. So because I myself am quite convinced, and I can see, and being a pathologist, I know there are AI models also for diagnosis, and of course in radiology. So, and at times we do feel that will they be a threat to us? But as Sir said, that the people, the doctors, with knowing AI versus not knowing AI, so that will be the difference. So since I have started using these models and using these prompting and understanding what this prompting is, so it made my life so much easier. In fact, it is like I have an assistant. In fact, once I make a presentation, I also give the same topic to the AI model and just see if I have not missed anything. I don't rely on that, yes, of course, but the headings, I've not missed anything. So that kind of assistance is there. And even in our daily work, when you're collecting data, we are trying now to keep data in such a form that once, since we are a newly started hospital, once a substantial amount of data is collected, we can use the AI models to correlate this genomic data clinically. So that's what the new horizon has opened for me personally, I feel. And I'm sure more and more as my clinical colleagues are exposed to this thing. So, and you will be exposed to the clinical side. So the collaboration, like Shreyas is working with the dermatology team on flow cytometry, on radiology. So these are different domains. These are different clinical domains. So each domain has something to offer and lot of data, and that can be utilized.
So on a lighter note, can I say today engineer with a specialization in AI and medical engineering can have an edge over a doctor?
Yeah.
Okay, sure, ma'am. So I think we reached to a point where we can understand. So there is lot more in this, especially the topic about AI and data science with medical engineering. What are the things that are happening and all, and especially today's topic: can AI be your next doctor? I think to conclude, as I can say today, having this kind of information from this session, I can say there is a chance in the near future where an AI model can make a better decision than a doctor in the coming days, as we add more and more data sets to the system, as it start learning about the diseases, how it is diagnosed, and what are the outcomes as we go along. Since especially a demography like India, still a lot of things are yet to be digitized. Once we have that information, once we feed it to the AI models, we will be reaching to a point where the decision making for any treatment can be easy, as some of the projects I keep on hearing, because some of the collaborations IIT Madras has done with our campus is, why a patient should go to a hospital, why not a hospital should go to a patient. So I'm hearing these things and all. That's why all IITs are trying to adapt to come up with this kind of AI and data science and medical engineering oriented topics. So we will take Q&A from the students, ma'am. Before that, I think I'll just launch one poll for students, all of you who are attending today. So one interesting poll, because today we heard a lot about AI and DS, especially with a minor in medical engineering, which is an optional thing. But have you already joined or interested in this program? Please, all of you, please answer. In meantime, I will try to actually take up questions, some of the questions which are important, where you can utilize our panelists in the. So, sir, will there be a chance for a student who doesn't have maths to join this kind of program? So, will we allow them or will we encourage them?
Definitely. We know we this year, we just started. So we're not we haven't thought through of all the possible ways in which students should come into a program like this. And the core, core of AI, which I keep saying, is programming, computer programming, and the core computer science subjects are still very important. Obviously, they are the base, like database and so on. How the data is managed, and also the data science. The data science depends heavily on subjects in mathematics. Like linear algebra, probability, statistics. So the core mathematics skills are critical. So if the student is not well equipped already in the basic math skills, what we will do, I think, from next time on, is that we will just have an entrance test of whether they are, we will say that, if you have learned enough math, that is, or enough data science math, I'll put it that way, okay? Or enough AI math. Math is huge, right? And we may not necessarily need all the math, but at least the data science and the AI math, if they have picked up somehow, we don't care how, right? There are so many ways to pick it up nowadays, YouTube and so on. Then we will give them a chance from next time. But this year we started very late, so we didn't have time to think about all those things.
Yes, sir. Sir, one more question is, like students are asking where I will get placed if I have done a degree like this, AI and data science with medical engineering. What kind of companies hire me, and what kind of scope I have after completing this course?
Sure, that's an excellent question, and I think I've answered it a few times in similar ways. Like I said, the core strength of our students will still be computer science, the basics, right? We will first make sure that they are learning computer science and the math courses in a very strong way. So the data science is mostly built on the math courses, and the computer science is built on the program. When these two are put together, then based on the programming and the fundamental data science, you are then able to build what we call as AI models. and you're able to do, Python programming with a lot of libraries and APIs and so on, basically. So that's where we want the students to reach. So fundamentally, they will be excellent programmers and data scientists, both. So in practice, they will be able to take up any IT job, any job which requires IT or, computer science skills, programming skills in any field, in any sector, fundamentally. Because our main job that I am finding lacking in previous generations of engineers has been that they don't develop the practical programming skills in that 4 years. They are taught so much theory, and they, remember and they write and they forget. We want to break this cycle of, remember and forget. We want them to make them do things, we want to develop their skills, in this program. And that is what is going to be wonderfully unique about it. So with the NEP policy, which is the National Education Policy 2020, we now have the freedom so that we won't even have a final exam, actually. We will try to make sure that they are skilled. There will be a project-based learning and a project-based evaluation of the whole course, where they are actually writing a software program, and that will be evaluated as your output. So the job opportunities will be there in computer science, IT, AI, and medical, all of those.
Yeah, as all of you should understand, the AI students who are currently learning more about AI technologies, they can work in any career domain. You just need to have a specialized courses or electives. If you learn those kind of things, you can actually get more opportunities in that specific domain. So students, you will have lots of opportunities. Actually, to say you will have more diverse opportunities than other stream people. So, ma'am, Moshmi, ma'am, like just one question student is asking, especially a course like this, if they are considering with optional with medical engineering, AIDS, how much level of this anatomy or biological knowledge they should have to understand these things?
Look, as such, you don't need a journal, but if it is associated with a project, if you're doing some project, so then of course you need to go deeper. That and it once you are into the project, then it doesn't look like that you are learning something or this thing. It is like you see the clinical thing, and it's very easy to absorb that kind of information. And just to tell you, I have a team. So in my team, I have, of course, medical doctors. I have PhDs who are MSc and PhDs and just MSc. I even have MTech people. So I have MTech PhDs and MTech also. So in our lab domain also, we work with engineering people with engineering background. So I don't think there is anything like, and these people have not had a proper biology training. So what they have learned is on the job or on the project. And they understand so much biology now because it's related to what they do daily. So you cannot differentiate that this is a MTech student or this is a MSc student. At times, in fact, they do better.
Yes, yes, I think that's rightly said, ma'am. So first of all, you should have a basic understanding. Once you get into the project, get a more deeper understanding to succeed in the project. And students are asking, you have mentioned the book name. Can you please let us know the book name that you have read? Uh,
Okay, it is the Power Shift. Just
okay.
Google it. So it's a very famous book, Power Shift.
Yes. I think, sir, I think we crossed our time limit. It's already 6:05. I think we should conclude this thing. So, if to have our conclusive statements from both of you, so what is going to be your suggestions for people opting for this group to become the next AI doctor? Maybe first we will go with Kamal sir. How you want our students to approach or get into this kind of branch? You can just help them motivate to pursue this dream.
Sure, sure, sure. I think, finally, what matters in life is passion, right? You have to be passionate and love what you do. So I think that is very important. Find something, whatever you do, be in love with it, then it will not feel like a work, you know, it will not feel like work. So try to do things from your heart, you know. I think from your, if you do things from your heart and soul, then the mind and the intellect, you know, for us as a human are tools, right? The mind and the intellect are our AI, which is inside us. Okay. So keep that in mind, you know, but you you should live life from your heart and soul and find something you really love. And then once you find that, your mind and intellect is your computer, your AI, which you use to learn and analyze and do very well at. So once that love is there, and you know you're focused, then you'll be focused, and you'll concentration is the key, right? And I think, like I keep saying, project-based learning, when you do things with love and focus, you know, you are going to get exceptional in whatever we are showing you. And there is no doubt that, you know, that will automatically lead to, you know, the best, you know, pay packages, you know, and like, you know, a lot of kids go to US and then do a master's or a PhD and then come back. So that's what I would say, you know. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I think, as you rightly said, passion and interest matter the most to pursue your dream. Moshmi ma'am, so your concluding statement for all our people.
Okay, look, uh, I just want to tell you that whatever I'm doing in my field, I'm one of the pioneers in the country. And that's been what my philosophy has been throughout life. So whenever I've started doing things, in fact, I've done things about which I did not know anything, absolutely raw. So though that's why I don't know why I got into it. And of course, get into things like a child, that kind of curiosity. And just start from the basic. Just ask very common sense questions. So, what is this? What is it going to do? How will it work? Like, just answer those basic common sense questions. And once you start answering them, you'll keep on rising. Just common sense. You don't need any special intelligence, or you don't need to be a super duper person to do anything for that matter. You just start. And with a common thing and common sense questions, how do I do it? इससे फायदा क्या होगा? क्या करेंगे? कितना पैसा लगेगा? मतलब like all those things. So once you start getting into it, you will and start finding answers. Talk to people, get your answers, talk to teachers, get your answers, see. Now there is Google, there is so much information out on the net. So when I was doing, there was hardly any information. So type who is the best person in whatever field you're trying to go, or who is the best one, how did he reach there, where did he start from. So you will know that most of the people have started from zero, they don't know anything. So just be basic, open minded, and just explore and you will write. That's what I
Yes.
feel.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. That's rightly said. I think our two esteemed panelists today actually concluded. I think certain passion and interest are the priority to pursue your dream career. And Mashmi ma'am, you told, I think I forgot the philosopher name. The best way of learning is start questioning things. So I think we have reached a point where today how much a crucial role AI and data science is going to play, and especially in healthcare. And I hope all of you understood is really AI can be your next doctor or not. So we will again meet with a new topic, the new panel, and thank you for the panel who accepting our invite and gracing their presence and discussing about various concerns or doubts all our students has. And thank you, Shreya, giving us a student point of view and giving us your experience in Amrita, which actually is required for a lot of aspirants who are attending today. Thank you, Kamal sir. Thank you, Moshini ma'am, and thank you, Shreya. And I hope we will be meeting again soon with a new topic that can actually enlighten our students and give them more awareness. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir. Have a good day. Bye. Yeah.